what we're going to be talking about today is geography and location and how that affects the cybersecurity industry and your chances of getting a job in the cybersecurity industry, especially with your first job. And so to help us with that discussion, I've brought up cyberseek.org, which is a website we've talked about before on the podcast. It's an excellent website with tons and tons of great information that is updated in near real time, usually within about 3 months. It does a continual update of the site based on jobs, what employers are looking for, what the supply and demand curves look like, what the salary ranges are, what the certifications are, all that stuff. But today, we really want to focus on location because one of the things I've seen is that location really, really does matter. Kip, what do you think about location? Why does it matter so much?
Yeah, well, location is kind of a backward-looking thing in the sense that, in the last 2 years, we've all been inundated with remote work, and our workforces have gone on their heads, trying to scramble out of big buildings and skyscrapers and stuff to guard against infection. But historically, people just went to a building, and so guess what? You got cities, bases, right? Air Force bases or Army bases or naval ports or whatever, right? People congregate in order to go to work together. And so even though we still are, even though we're evolving, right, where we have all this tech that lets us do remote work, there still is this very pervasive attitude of location. And I don't know if that's ever going to go away. It certainly hasn't gone away completely, even with remote work. So we've got to consider it.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I see this even in my company. Right now, my company is a remote-only company. All of my employees, we have 14 as of today, as of yesterday, actually, the 14th member joined the team.
Congratulations.
And they're located all over the place, right? We have people in 6 different countries right now out of 14 team members. I'll tell you though, next year we are getting an office. And we are going to have people in the office. Now, I'm not going to fire those people who are not locally to our area, but as we are hiring for new positions throughout the rest of this year, we are hiring with a preference of we are going to be remote first company, but we still want you to be relatively close by so that once a week, once a month, we can get people together, we can do staff meetings, we can do outings, because that part of the culture gets lost in remote a lot of the time. And so it is something that I think is valuable as a CEO and the leader of my company, and a lot of other companies do it that way as well. And so I've seen this trend, especially recently with the pandemic, where people say, oh yeah, it's a remote job, no problem at all, you can work from home. And then 6 months later, they're going, oh no, I want you back in the office on Monday. And if you took a job in California and you live in Virginia, you're not going to be there on Monday. It's kind of hard to move from California, from Virginia to California in one day. So, it's important to understand that and put that out. And, one of the people I just hired that's going to be starting in April, he lives in California. I'm down in Puerto Rico. We're also opening offices back in the States as well. And because of that, I've told him, yes, you can work remotely, but over the next 12 months or so, you might be making a trip once every couple of months to come fly out and hang out with us. Especially because he's going to be doing some filming and recording with me. It's a lot easier to have him in my studio where I can help him get his presence up, do all the technical stuff, and make sure it all works out right.
Definitely. So anyway, there you go. I mean, there's Jason's perspective on, geography and how that's affecting, his company. And you know what? That's true across the board. There are some companies that are not remote first, but remote exclusive. Like my company is remote exclusive, right? So we don't get together in a physical space, and I don't have any plans for doing that. That works for us, right? But for a lot of other people, geography does matter. So, all right. So that's why we're talking about this, and a couple of other things I think you should know before we really crack into this. So again, we're focused on the United States, and that's what we're going to talk about is U.S. metro areas and that sort of thing. But the concept of geography, I think, is applicable anywhere in the world, no matter where you're working. All right, so that should carry over just fine. And just remember that all the statistics and everything we're talking about is about the United States. Okay, so all right, Jason, let's do this.
Yeah, that's a great point. Cyberseek.org is a wonderful website, as we said, but it is US focused. I have not found an equivalent for the UK or Canada or India or other countries around the world, or even a global one. I think it's just because it's hard to get that kind of data into a single place, and there's a lot of time and money spent by a lot of organizations to create Cyberseek.
There's sponsors here, right? You got to find sponsors, and you also have to have sources. I mean, it's a big, it's a big data challenge. I also want to say too that this data set is backward looking. So once you get ready to actually do job hunting, you have to go someplace else to do that. So just another caveat.
Yeah, great point. And as I'm looking at the screen, I'm at cyberseek.org, cyberseek.org. If you're in the car on the podcast, please don't try to go do it right now. You can do it later. It
You
will
can
be in
pull
the show
over.
notes. We'll have a link, and we'll also have a link to the video if you want to go back and watch it later to get in-depth deep dives and see exactly what I'm looking at.